only said it was a coincidence because, like we just mentioned, they do put out a good product.
But it ain't great though. Like Joe Budden's podcast is better than that. I just saw a young lady call her daddy podcast also got an astronomical podcast deal. I'm just seeing a lot of white podcasters be compensated in a way that black podcasters are not. And you know, I won't necessarily attach Travis to that because I just think this is the Taylor Swift package. But there needs to be an investigation into why these black podcasters are not receiving the bag like their white counterparts. Well, welcome back to the Fumble. I'm Rodney Ricard. We got Samaria Terry wearing a black t-shirt. What you about to go on a robbery spree? What's happening here?
I wear black all the time.
No, you don't. Ain't no collarbone popping. What you trying to hide? What's going on? How you feeling? How's your spirit doing today?
I always wear a baby tee. It is scorching hot. You know, I have to give the weather in Nashville. It's really hot. It's 100 degrees.
Wait, you do the weather?
I do the weather on this show, Rodney. I always will say how.
Oh, I was like, you got hella talents. You weather, sideline reporter, one-stop shop. Anyway, I'm excited. I had a phenomenal weekend. So let me just tell you a little bit about my weekend. I hosted the Mamba Invitational Tournament. It was fire, right? And then I also had a film premiere at a film festival, a film that I made a long time ago. So I'm feeling high. I'm riding good energy. That's all I'm about to do.
Congratulations on that.
For sure. So now I'm ready to talk sports with you on the Fumble.
Okay. All right, many believe Caitlin Clark has Rookie of the Year all locked up, but Angel Reese is having a historic season as well. She needs just one more double-double to break the rookie record. She's also had 20 or more rebounds in her last 3 games. No other WNBA player has done that. Reese is averaging 13.5 points in a league-high 12.9 boards a game. Rodney, why is she receiving so much hate right now?
Oh, you trying to set me up for the what up? Okay, I see what you did there. I think that her game is just not attractive, right? Like there's something about having a high motor that's great, but nobody really desires to watch Dennis Rodman and make Dennis Rodman the focal point of their viewing pleasure when watching NBA basketball, right? Like that was never a thing. Like I love Draymond Green, but nobody is really tuned in unless you're like a true hoops nerd to the nuances of Draymond Green's game. I think there are a lot of players in the WNBA who are just more fluid athletes. They can shoot it. They can shoot it from deep. They have ball handling ability. And Angel Reese doesn't have any of that, right? Like she's a bulldog on the court. And so again, the game of basketball, much like every other game, is all about at this point fluidity and motion, right? The flowness of motion. And she just doesn't really do the things that are aesthetically pleasing to a majority of audiences. So I think, but I think her star power is so big. It's like y'all telling us to watch this woman, but her game ain't attractive. So I think that's where some of the criticism comes into play. Why do you think she's receiving so much hate since you want to put it in my lap like that?
I mean, I don't know. That's why I asked the question. I'm really
You don't know?
When you
don't have a clue?
No. When you literally go on Twitter and you search Rookie of the Year, Angel Reese, it is like everybody talking about why she's not a good basketball player. And I think that that's kind of hurtful because obviously she's doing things. Yes, okay, a lot of her rebounds are her own rebounds. But I mean, I feel like she's doing stuff like I just mentioned. She's having a historic season just like Caitlin Clark is. And I think that she deserves a lot more credit than what she's getting.
Can we stop? See, so that right there is part of the problem. Let's stop comparing her to Caitlin Clark. Like, let's not compare her
I'm
season.
saying people are doing that. People are comparing.
Okay, because you said that she's having as great a season as Caitlin Clark, which is not true.
I said she's having a historic season just like Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, but
Caitlin Clark is setting assist records. She's setting rebound rookie records. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, those are very different. They're very different things. And so I think that's where a lot of the hate comes in, if I can be honest. Like that, there is a level of disdain, right, for people who kind of position them against each other. And it makes people's defense of Caitlin become an attack on Angel. I think if we really want to resolve Angel receiving as much vitriol as she does, we have to separate the two because right now they are conjoined. They're twins. And so, but Angel's game is very, 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 very different than Caitlin's. Caitlin's game is the evolution of basketball, not just for women, but for hoopers in general. Whereas Angel's game is not that. And so if we're able to stop tying them together, I think way more people will appreciate the things that Angel does well, as opposed to defending the greatness that is Caitlin Clark and what she does well. So yeah, I think that's a huge thing that we have to be cognizant of, especially in media, just because it does tend to get nasty. I do honor and recognize that some of the things that are said about Angel are hurtful, but maybe now she'll have a chance to talk about what actually is bothering her, because she has a podcast coming out. So I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what I'm wanting, to separate them. Why are they like, why is she receiving hate? Or if you search, like I said, if you search on Twitter, Angel Reese, Rookie of the Year, it's everybody bashing her, talking about why she's not deserving or anything. There's not a lot of love in that space. And so that I can feel like that could be hurtful. But in that podcast, she's just been doing a lot of press stuff about the podcast. And she said that she's not worried about individual accolades. So she doesn't even care if she gets Rookie of the Year or not, or even be in the conversation. So maybe that's helpful for her. But yeah, I mean, I just think that the hate, the vitriol for Angel is just, especially coming from people who have never won a national championship, let alone can bounce a basketball.
Yeah, listen, social media is a bubble, and I don't want us to ever feel like social media is reflective of the entirety of society's opinion, thoughts, feelings on any particular person, subject matter, or anything like that, right? Like, we all exist in a very curated, algorithmic bubble. And so maybe the searches just are, in alignment with a very specific audience and demographic. Ever since old boy took over X or Twitter, whatever you want to reference it, there seems to be an uptick in just hate speech in general. So we don't know the true feelings and sentiments that people have towards Angel, because I think people that have a clear and sound mind are not on Twitter or on social media spitting hate. That's just not what people who are healthy minded do. So hopefully she's not too much invested into the words and thoughts of people on social media platforms, because it's not real life.
Well, you let us know down in the comments what you all think. Do you feel like Angel's hate is justified? Like Rodney says, maybe her game is not.
Wait, I didn't say it was justified. Wait, hold on. No, you're not going to do that. I didn't say it was justified. I was explaining why there's some people who don't gravitate towards the game. That's all I said.
Well, okay. Well, do you agree with Rodney? Let us know down in the comments if you agree with Rodney's sentiment on Angel's game, or do you feel like she doesn't deserve as much hate as she's getting?
Samaria, what is the best way to get paid top dollar in the NFL as a tight end? I got one word for you. It is podcast. It was announced this week that Travis Kelce and his brother Jason hit what we refer to in the community as a lick, signing a deal for their podcast that will pay them $100 million over the next 3 years. Now, this means that Travis will make just about as much on the field as he is on the mic. Personally, I am always happy to see people getting to the bag, but I got a question. Is this deal a byproduct of being an elite podcast talent and Super Bowl champion, or is this another residual benefit of dating Taylor Swift?
Okay, that's very loaded. I will say, though, let me preface this by saying that I do think that Travis and Jason have a really good show. It's funny, it's informative. Like, I mean, they're brothers, so they just click, and it's just, they say crazy stuff, and they give you inside information on different moments of a game that you didn't know about. They have great guests. So I think overall what they're putting out is a really good product. So I could see them getting the money. Is it a coincidence? Yes, I do feel like a lot of stuff.
It's a coincidence?
It's a little bit of a coincidence. I feel like a lot of stuff has happened for Travis since he started dating Taylor Swift. I will say that. He's gotten a lot of deals, and he's gotten obviously this $100 million podcast deal, and they're on commercials and they're everywhere. But I feel like whoever his team is, they're doing a great job, because they're riding off of this Taylor Swift coattails, because the Swifties were watching NFL and the numbers were crazy. There's not many
coincidences as it pertains to $100 million. Like that, there's no coincidence there. It's like, no. We know what we want. We know what we like. So there's a long list of athletes who have podcasts, right? Like Draymond Green, to me, was the first athlete who was giving you post-game podcast productions, right? Like he's also turned full media working for Turner. There's, Gilbert Arenas. There's Jalen Brunson and Jason Hart, Richard Jefferson, Channing Frye. There are a myriad of athletes who have podcasts podcasts who are flourishing in the podcast space, none of them are receiving $100 million to do so. I know the biggest black podcaster in the world is Joe Budden, right? Like that's homie. So he's not getting $100 million deal. So there definitely is a benefit that we can't quite quantify as to why Jason and Travis are getting this deal. Now, granted, I think that they are both rock stars even before the Taylor Swift thing, right? Like, Travis was dating a very beautiful young lady, and that relationship was, for a lot of people, relationship goals. He's an attractive, down-to-earth, cool dude, and so there were people who were invested in his celebrity long before he started dating Taylor Swift. But that Taylor Swift package really does give you a lot of juice. It's a lot of juice tied in when you're attached that closely in that way to Taylor Swift. All eyeballs are on you, and so everything that these media companies are vying for is attention, right? So now we can slot in ad sales in a way that makes sense for us, because our audience is a very specific niche audience, because those are the Swifties, and they follow Travis wherever he goes up until they end up getting married, which will be forever. Then they'll always be there, or until they break up, in which case now he'll become a target of the Swifties, and there's still media opportunities in that space. So again, they're both talents, but this is for sure the Taylor Swift effect.
I only said it was a coincidence because, like we just mentioned, they do put out a good product.
But it ain't great though. Like Joe Budden's podcast is better than that. I just saw a young lady call her daddy podcast also got an astronomical podcast deal. She just got a crazy bag. I'm just seeing a lot of white podcasters be compensated in a way that black podcasters are not. And I won't necessarily attach Travis to that, because I just think this is the Taylor Swift package. But there needs to be an investigation into why these black podcasters are not receiving the bag like their white counterparts. You might not be tapped into the podcast space, so maybe you're unaware. But I'm just telling you, if you look at the top 5 list of podcasters, they're all Caucasian. And Joe Budden has the largest podcast amongst the black community, and it's far-reaching, right? It transcends hip-hop genre. It's huge. It's mega. And I've seen him fight vigilantly for an opportunity to be compensated in a way that he deems adequate, that really recognizes his value as a cultural staple, and he's yet to do so. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens for sure.
It's like I want to say something.
Why are you holding back?
Because I don't want to step on anybody's toes. See, I think this is my throat. I think this is God telling me to shut up.
Throat chakra? Yeah, what's up? Nah, but talk. We can edit it out if you don't like it.
I mean, you brought up Joe Budden. You brought up Gilbert Arenas. These are two guys that are controversial.
Draymond Green. Joe Rogan is controversial. Howard Stern. Controversy has always sold. Now all of a sudden when black people do it, we can't. I don't understand the difference. Especially because hip-hop culture is the number one most consumed culture on the earth. So why are we not compensating the leaders of the media in that space? Our culture gets devalued. At the end of the day, let me just say that. Our culture gets devalued in spaces and places in which it shouldn't. We are the driver of consumerism, and we should be adequately compensated and valued in a way that reflects our contributions.
So do you feel like if Taylor Swift was dating, I'm trying to find somebody who's black. I don't know. If she was dating somebody
Lamar Jackson.
Great. If she was dating somebody like Lamar Jackson, do you feel like he would blow up in the way more that Travis Kelce is?
1,000%. 1,000%. Lamar Jackson and Taylor Swift, people wouldn't even know how to feel about that. It is such a polar opposite. We would be like, I'm intrigued. Like, what does their kiss look like? There would be a different level of intrigue, right? Like, it'd be like, what does that bedroom scenario look like? That's where people's mind will go to. I'm just saying.
Right. But I don't think it would, because like you just mentioned, it's a difference between white and black podcasters. He would not get the same benefits because he's black.
Maybe.
I think that's also another thing too, that the Kelces are getting this monster deal because they're white. And they're more relatable to the majority of the people in America, unfortunately.
That's a fair point.
It's racist. It's racism, but
I won't say racism. It's race based. I won't say.
It's race
I think.
Based.
Yeah, I don't want to.
But that's what I was trying to say. Like
the racism troops.
After listening to you, I'm like, that's what it is. I mean, I
Okay,
have to
yeah. So
just
his
formulate my thought, but
got you.
that's what I feel like it is. So if she was, that's why I was like, if she was dating somebody like Lamar Jackson or a DeAndre Hopkins or something like that, they're not getting the same because they're black.
I don't know if that's true. But also, they're not in the podcast space. Let's say she was dating Draymond Green. Do I think Draymond Green would all of a sudden explode as a podcaster? Yeah, I do. I do believe that. But y'all let us know your thoughts. Do you feel like Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce have gotten this podcast deal because they're just talented podcasters, or is it the Taylor Swift effect? And do you think that race plays a part in any of it?
All right, so Johnson is a hit show on Bounce TV focusing on four best friends sharing life with the same last name. Season 4 premiered earlier this month, and the stars of that show are going to be the stars on our show today. So welcome in to the Fumble show creator and actor Deji LaRay and former NFL star turned actor Thomas Q. Jones. Thank you guys so much for coming on with us.
Thanks for having us. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. Appreciate you. How y'all spirits doing this morning?
Good, man. Excited. You know, we're mid-season into season 4. Episode 5, I believe, just aired, and episode 6. I think on Saturday we're taking a week off because of Labor Day weekend. But then the next weekend, episode 6 airs, and that's the episode where we go to the Bahamas. So I'm excited about that. Excited about opening up the world for the Bounce audience, and it's going to be a great episode.
Now, did y'all shoot on location in the Bahamas?
It was all green screen. So we was in Atlanta studio, and we shot the whole thing green screen, you know.
I had to ask.
Nah, we shot in the Bahamas. We shot.
Yeah, there we go. All right, we was there. We had our drinks, umbrellas, and the thing, whole 9 yards. I told you off camera, man, that you should be incredibly proud of yourself in this season to have a show about black men, black male masculinity to be greenlit is a feat, to say the least. I have a question for both of you because I do love the way that we as black men are evolving and in our behavior, emotionally. It's a beautiful thing to both watch and participate in. But what are some of the things that you both have had to shed that helped you survive when you were younger that you now recognize as to your detriment as men?
Yeah, just just understanding that it's okay to be vulnerable. We're human. Even black men, we're human too. And just with my background, especially playing football for as long as I did, vulnerability is not the wave. It's not what you want to show. You get beat being vulnerable in any position on the field, and honestly in your real life. The way I played the game, my real life transition into football. So as an actor, now for the last 10 years, learning how to become vulnerable as a character, learning that humanity is my strongest asset when it comes to playing characters. That's something that's definitely benefited me. Something that I had to reevaluate from my past into my life now as an actor and then as a man.
And same question for you, Deji.
I would say it's probably like an individual mindset, I had when I was younger. Is like, you're kind of focused on yourself and, what you have going on and what you're pursuing. And I think same thing for you, Roddy, like you said, that toughness, that's a certain sort of quality that you have, in certain areas growing up, is looking out for yourself and making sure that you're straight, and that's it. And I think I recognize now how much we need each other, as black men, how much we need each other as how much black men and black women need each other, and vice versa. And so, I'm obviously, you're focused on yourself and what you're pursuing, but I'm also making sure that I'm looking out for as many people as I can. I have, a lot of incredible people in my life, black men and black women, and I'm always just trying to pour into them, and making sure that, any sort of opportunities that I can give to them, that I'm doing it, because I recognize how strong we are, in numbers and when we work together, so working together is a huge aspect of my journey now that I think is a testament to the success that we have.
Yeah, I would say like my dad absolutely loves the show, guys. Like when I found out that you all were coming, I called him and he just went on and on. He was talking about, I guess the wedding and how Greg is going to have somebody go to jail for a bag or something. I was like, what? But
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
spoiler alert. But no, he absolutely loves it. And I think it's great because, like the topics that we were just touching on, the mental health, the politics, some of the things that maybe are more difficult for Black men to talk about. What would you say is the most thing about the show that relates to your personal life the most?
I would say being misunderstood. My character Omar Johnson is, um, he's kind of the typical, kind of stereotypical black man that you would expect him to be. He's um, muscular. He's got tattoos. He's presumed aggressive, assertive. Um, and I guess when it comes to playing that character um, in real life, I'm nothing like that. But I am misunderstood in real life. Sometimes the exterior is what people judge you off of, and once they get to know you, then they realize, hey, this person's a teddy bear. So playing Omar Johnson on this show is like second nature for me. It's a great character for me to play. He's a very complex character. He has a family, he has a son, he has a wife, and he has real life issues like everyone else does. And it's interesting to see how he goes about resolving those conflicts. But yeah, misunderstood is definitely what I say about my character Omar.
I would say, you know, the one thing that I really love about this show is how we show the humanity, when it comes to Black men. I think it's no secret that, historically Black men on television have been portrayed as, and Black women as well, one dimensional. You were there for a certain purpose to kind of serve the larger story, but very rarely are we sort of diving into the whys of why this person is doing this or why he's feeling that or even what he's feeling, the backstory of these characters. And so you mentioned those topics, whether it's mental health, whether it's classism, whether it's, dispelling the myth of the absentee Black father, brotherhood, all these things that we discuss on the show. And, uh, you know, are things that we rarely see on television. And so we lose the humanity of Black men on TV. And so we give a lot of that. We show Black men who are, more emotionally intelligent, that open up and express themselves. They have different perspectives on a lot of things when it comes to life, whether it's politics, whether it's religion. But we all still love each other and we all offer alternative perspectives to how we view the world, and I think that's what makes, the bond strong between these four guys. So I think that's the thing that relates to me the most. To answer your question is these are all things that I personally go through. We all go through, in life, but very rarely do we see that representation on television. And so to see the humanity and to answer the question of why we do what we do or say what we say and give ourselves the chance to evolve as characters on television is very refreshing.
So Thomas, you graduated college in 3 years and from the University of Virginia. I'm from Jersey, but lived in the DMV for 5 years, North Carolina A&T State University. So to be a Wahoo is serious business. So to graduate in 3 years, my hat is tipped to you. Top 25 rusher of all time. You're obviously an actor now. You're invested in tech. What accomplishment, seen or unseen, most defines your time here on Earth so far?
Man, that's a great question. I think all of them. I think just me being able to accomplish multiple things um, and have success in multiple things. I think defines me. I want to be an example for any person, regardless of who you are, what culture, what nationality, what race, but particularly Black men, Black boys. To be an example of being a black boy to becoming a Black man that can be successful in anything he puts his mind to. There's not a challenge that I don't that I shy away from. Whether it's football, whether it's Hollywood, whether it's tech, sometimes it seems like I pick the hardest arenas to play in, but I like a challenge. I grew up in a very secluded area in Virginia where a lot of people don't have the opportunity to get to this level. So I feel like it's my obligation, to continue to climb and be an example for other black men, especially black men that are coming from my area, black kids that are coming from my area.
That's amazing, man. All right, so this is for both of y'all, okay? We got Ed Too Tall Jones, O.J. Simpson, Lawrence Taylor, Jim Brown, Terry Bradshaw, Nnamdi Asomugha, several others as well. I'm not going to include The Rock because that'd be cheating. And of course yourself, Thomas. Who is the best former NFL player turned actor?
I'm gonna go first, man. I gotta go with my man's Thomas Q
Okay.
Jones. You know, I got him at the top. And you know, obviously, man, you just mentioned some greats. You know, Jim Brown, man. Come on, man. But I think it's because I see Thomas's work ethic and I see it every single day. I'm biased when it comes to that, so I'm gonna separate him out that bunch, or just give him an honorable mention, however you want to put it. This dude works hard. You know, he said he picked two of the toughest arenas to play in. Obviously, he made it to the top in football, and he's making it to the top in acting as well. I see how serious he is about this craft. This dude was in acting classes, which is something, for years, which is something a lot of people who say they want to act shy away from. He's very serious about, his roles, understanding the backstory of the characters, his commitment to the characters, and he's always trying to challenge himself. He's one of my favorite actors to watch, you know what I mean? And I'm his producing partner. So anything that we do, I'm trying to put him in, you know what I mean? Like, I'm writing this new script. This is your role. This is your role. Just trying to challenge him. And he had a lot of challenges on Johnson, and I've seen him handle those challenges, as well as our new show as well that we have coming out as well, but handling those challenges and really just diving into it and not making excuses, some really heavy stuff on Johnson that he had to sort of tap into, and he was able to do it, man. So Thomas Q. Jones is at the top of my list for that, for sure.
Oh, man, I appreciate it, bro. Thank you. And, Deji as a writer, he makes it easy. The scripts are actor scripts, which means, the words jump off the page. So, I've trained for 4 years, studied with Ivana Chevik and Franz Turner in LA and a couple of other studios for 4 years. So anytime I get a script and it's real and it's an opportunity for me to really bring me to it, it's always a good opportunity, and Deji scripts are always like that. So hats off to you too, Deji. I always appreciate the people who came before me. I'm a student of anything. I was a student of the NFL. Some players I would know from the 30s, from the 40s, 50s. I knew stats. I knew movies. I mean, just like with the actors, I'm a student now. I know what movies certain actors have been in. I'll go back and watch black and white films. So I would have to say, out of the list that you've given, Jim Brown, I would have to say Jim, mainly because, Jim obviously played running back in the NFL and transitioned into acting similar to me. But he broke a lot of barriers with some of the projects that he worked on. Yeah. And I think he really made it valid, for former NFL players to officially turn actor, which is what I've been able to do in the last 10 years or so. So I'd have to say Jim Brown.
Okay. I'm going to go Lawrence Taylor. Don't you drop me. I'm worth $1 million. That's one of my favorite lines from Any Given Sunday. That's one of my favorites. Man, this has been a joy for me. Having the opportunity to speak to black men who are existing in a space that I covet, that I desire is inspirational. Just because you all are moving in a way that you should as a collective. And I think that's powerful. I wish you guys much success going forward. I hope the next half of this season is good as the first half. And continued success, brothers. Continued ascension, for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate y'all. We mentioned the creators, in our responsibility. We mentioned the audience, but the journalists right there in the middle. You know what I mean? Super important role, instrumental in getting the word out, doing your research, which obviously you all have done, and letting the audience know what's out there, because the audience can't watch if they don't know about it. You know what I mean? Right. So, much love and respect to y'all and this platform, and thank y'all for having us on and letting us, utilize this platform to get the word out for Johnson, for sure. Thank you.
Of course.
Definitely. Thank you.
Appreciate y'all, G, man. Thank y'all so much.
Yeah.
Okay, Samaria. It is a rare condition in this day and age to read any good news on that newspaper page. And Cooper Flagg's recent announcement that he signed to New Balance is a glaring reminder of this. Flagg is the number 1 overall recruit in the nation and regarded as a can't-miss prospect, right? He's playing his freshman year at Duke, and he'll 99.999% sure leave for the NBA as the number 1 overall draft pick. But usually a player of his caliber is a sure shot to lock in with Nike, especially since he's going to a preeminent Nike school in Duke and was a part of the USA Select team, right? Both are Nike programs. Now, Flagg is from Maine, and New Balance is a New England-based company, so there is some alignment there. And honestly, he has a chance to be their number 1 priority kind of out the gate, seeing as how Kawhi Leonard is probably on the way out, and there's no other elite. I love Tyrese Maxey, but there's no other elite talent on the New Balance roster.
Jamal Murray is not on there?
Who? Jamal Murray is not an elite talent. Did you see him in the Olympics? Didn't even start. Anyway, at Nike, he would have had to worry about LeBron, KD, Devin Booker, Giannis, and Ja, assuming that he can chill out. They are all locked in with signature shoes, right? I love New Balance, and I actually am a really big fan of Cooper Flagg, even though he's going to Duke, and I'm a tried and true Tar Heel fan. But something about this announcement felt odd, we'll just call it. And I'm really hoping that Cooper and his team are mindful of the state of the country and don't let any entity use them to create a divide in our country. Now, in his announcement, in his rollout, in this commercial, the intelligent choice was used. And the intelligent choice is a slogan New Balance has used in the past. It's a tip of the hat to the brand being more about brain than brawn. Aside from DC, New Balance has been a choice of smart comfort, especially since you could regularly find Steve Jobs in a pair. But the smart choice is a solid slogan until you attach it to a white athlete in a predominantly black sport, and it can come off as somewhat of a dog whistling. The language that gets used for white athletes. White players are referred to as tactical and strategic, and black players are athletic and powerful. The white athlete uses his brain, while the black athlete relies on his genes to be great. All that old tired bullshit. Now, I hope that Cooper, his team, and New Balance have no ill intent with this campaign, but it is imperative that we are cognizant of our copy. Y'all remember that Coolest Monkey in the Jungle hoodie that H&M put out? It was bad copy. Cooper Flagg is an elite special talent, and he will have a phenomenal NBA career. I truly believe that in my heart. But he's going to have to decide what he wants his brand to be about, and I'm really hoping that he makes the intelligent choice. Those are my thoughts on Cooper Flagg's commercial with New Balance. Samaria, what are yours? Lot there.
I did not know we was going deep there. Because I was like, I like New Balance. What happened?
I love New Balance.
I can see where you're coming from. But I'm just hoping that his team was just like, it's a smart choice to wear New Balance. I don't know, because I feel like they have a good lineup of athletes across all sports. Because you got Coco, you got Cameron Brink, you have Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, okay.
So I think that they have maybe he wants to be different. Maybe he doesn't want to do Nike or
that's fine.
Whatever.
I ain't got no problem. Choose
and so
maybe
that's why that's the slogan. Is like, it's smarter to go to New Balance or to wear New Balance.
Sure.
I'm not trying.
I understand what you're saying, and I don't think there was an ill intent behind this.
Yeah.
But I think, again, sometimes people overlook the implications of what words mean, and words do still matter. Yeah. And, to his benefit and to his detriment, Cooper Flagg has a very 1940s racist face. He just got one of them faces that you can see him protesting outside of a school about to go through integration. You can literally he looks like that, right? So I think that you got to be mindful of how he looks. You got to take all things into consideration when it comes to these marketing campaigns and packages. I don't know if you saw the commercial, but it was also like a very vintage Hoosiers style commercial in which a young black boy was the paper boy and tossed the paper onto the lawn. And he's shooting in his driveway in the color palette. The tint was a yellowish, old school vintage feel. And so
I just watched it. I don't know, Rodney.
Okay. Again, it's a mindfulness. It's a practice in being mindful. the state of the world, because you see a lot of divisiveness and division around Caitlin Clark, right? Like there's like a thing, like middle America, white America is seeing these athletes and they're getting behind them, and there's a narrative that is being created. And I just don't want Cooper Flagg to have to deal with the things that we see Caitlin dealing with. I don't want there to be a divisiveness, because he's talented. He's incredible. And I just want to make sure that his team is mindful of the projected imaging of his brand. Because for some people, not necessarily myself, the intelligent choice attached to a white athlete rings of the black quarterback who was never regarded as a real quarterback because he didn't possess the intellect, because he didn't have the motor, all the language, you know what it is. So that's all.
No, I get it.
Yeah, I didn't hear nobody call Zion the intelligent choice, or I never hear any reference of anything that has to do with the mind, with intellect, with IQ, when it pertains to number one overall draft picks that are black. You don't hear that conversation. You just don't hear it.
It's more athleticism.
Wemby, he's a freak of nature. He's an alien.
Yes.
Right? It's,
no, you're right.
But
you're
now
right.
we got a white number one overall pick, American born, and it's the intelligent choice. Bad copy to me. That's how I feel. Even if it is the intelligent choice, we can find another way to articulate that. Which is why I'm saying, just be mindful. It's not really like a fumble of the week. It's like a precautionary fumble of the week. Like, hey, the ball is starting to slip. Like, because I don't know if you also saw, he had an image at Duke where he had like a pitchfork that was lit on fire, and it looked like a tiki torch.
Is this on Instagram?
It did. I'm gonna send. You know what? We on the air right now. I understand that, but I'm gonna go ahead and send it to you just because I feel like you need to see. Because it was crazy.
Oh my gosh.
That's not a good optic. It's not a good visual.
Optics is so important. I feel like people just lose sight of that. Like, optics is so important. Optically.
That's a bad look.
That's a bad look. I get that y'all are the Devils, and so
y'all are still in North Carolina.
It's giving Clan.
Again, I don't think this is him, but his team is either dog whistling and trying to stir up a bit of controversy, and maybe calling on, people who may be in alignment with holding tiki torches to pay attention to this prominent white athlete dominating these black men in this sport, because he is dominant and he talks on the court. Like, he ain't no slouch. But a white kid from Maine, it's, not a fumble of the week, but it's just like the ball is a little loose in there. You might want to clamp down a little bit tighter. You all let us know your thoughts on Cooper Flagg's New Balance announcement. Am I reaching in saying that calling him the intelligent choice is bad copy, or is this ad perfectly fine? Y'all let us know your thoughts in the comments section.
Yeah, thank you all for joining us for another great episode of The Fumble. Make sure to subscribe to The Fumble and at The Fumble Sports on all of our social media platforms. Of course, we're delivering the latest in sports every day on our YouTube page with our girl, Jackie Ray, and then every Friday right here at The Fumble with myself, Samaria Terry, and my co-host, Rodney Rakai.
Make sure you check out Johnson on Bounce TV. Thomas Jones, Deji, we appreciate you, man. Lock in, and don't kill me in the comment section, all right? I'm not calling anybody racist. I promise. We out of here. Peace.